if you're tired of being broke, stressed, and stuck in a never-ending cycle. There's one crucial goal you need to conquer: making your first $10,000. I know this firsthand. When I was 18, I had no money, no fancy degrees, just a fire in my belly and huge ambitions. Instead of dreaming about millions, I focused on that smaller, more achievable target of 10,000. And let me tell you, as a self-made millionaire today, that first $10,000 was the absolute hardest to make. But once I hit it, everything shifted. It wasn't just about the money, it was about proving to myself that making money is a skill, not just luck. Once I cracked the code to making one okay once, I knew I could do it again and again, eventually scaling it into real wealth. So, if I had to start from scratch and make that first $10, zero all over again, this is precisely how I do it in 3 straightforward steps. Step 1. Choose your money-making vehicle. Most people complicate this far more than necessary. They dive headfirst into crypto because a friend got rich, or they try day trading because some guru promised them instant wealth. The problem with both of these approaches is that they demand massive upfront cash reserves and a whole lot of luck. These are side hustles, and they should never be your primary income source when you're starting out. Think of them as tools to multiply your money once you have some. When you're just beginning, you need something that requires a minimal initial investment and consistently puts cash in your pocket every single day. When you strip away all the noise, there are really only 4 core options. I've personally tried all of them, and believe me, this choice is crucial. Some options offer higher scalability, while others are more limited. Similarly, some generate quick cash, while others take more time to mature. Option 1. Selling in-person services. You've probably heard of these before, but I'm talking about things like personal training, delivery driving, dog walking, nail design, barbering, videography, and countless others. While they might sound common or even basic, these services are actually one of the fastest ways to make money. Don't overlook them because they offer immediate payment. Plus, they're incredibly cheap to start. All you need are some skills and maybe a few basic tools, which means you can get up and running almost instantly. If you choose this path, please, for the love of money, don't waste time trying to build a website, run ads, or create a fancy logo. Just get out there, find some customers in your local area, deliver the service, and get paid. I even did this when I was a teenager. I used to walk around wealthy neighborhoods, offering to wash people's cars. I'd specifically look for homes with meticulously tidy gardens but dirty vehicles. Now, this might sound a bit strange, but my theory was this: if they were obsessed with keeping their garden perfect, they'd also want a shiny, clean car in their driveway to impress their neighbors. However, because these services are limited by your local area, my demand was pretty inconsistent. Some months were booming. Others I struggled to make anything, and when I was busy, I could only work with one person at a time, which capped my daily earnings. So, in-person services are fantastic for getting started, but you can quickly feel like they're limiting your potential. Option 2. Local products. This involves selling things like homemade baked goods, handmade crafts, artwork, fresh produce, and more. This can be a great way to make money, but it's not an overnight success story. Unlike services where you get paid as soon as the job's done, selling local products takes time. I gave this a shot using some of the profits from my car washing business. I bought cheap model airplane parts, spent time meticulously building each one, and then sold them to people at the RC flying club I went to on weekends. However, I quickly realized I was putting in a lot of effort for very little money. This was hard for me to accept because I genuinely enjoyed building them. Most of my earnings were swallowed by the cost of materials. On top of that, my customer base was extremely limited. There just weren't enough people willing to pay what I needed to make it worth my time. So, while selling local products can be fun, and it's definitely worthwhile if you want to make money from something you love, it has its limitations for hitting that $10,000 fast. Option 3. Global products. This category includes starting a clothing brand, dropshipping, sneaker reselling, print on demand, and so much more. Unlike in-person services or local products, going global grants you access to a much larger customer base, opening up significantly more opportunities to make money. You're not confined to just the people in your town or city. Anyone, anywhere can buy from you. I was so excited about launching my own global products that I even flew all the way to China to partner with a manufacturer to produce my model airplane designs and sell them worldwide. Of course, you don't have to go that far, especially if you opt for drop shipping or print-on-demand routes. Though those weren't really options when I started, if I'm honest. Things began quite slowly for me because I constantly had to reinvest my profits back into new products to sell. Every sale demanded more investment. Once I sold 10 items, I then needed to buy 20 more to keep up, instead of pocketing the profits. My money kept getting trapped in this endless cycle of restocking. Ultimately, was it worth it? 100%. However, you should only pursue this if you have the patience to wait 1 to 3 months for everything to really start kicking off. But once it's up and running, it's probably the most passive, lazy way to make money that actually works. Option 4. Selling online services. This option wasn't actually possible for me when I was younger, but it is such a massive advantage nowadays. There are so many different online services you can offer: copywriting, video editing, thumbnail design, running ads, social media management. The list is endless. Selling online services brilliantly combines the two biggest benefits from in-person services and global products. You get the global reach of a worldwide business, but the incredible profit margins of a service. With products, you might make a 20 to 30% margin that often needs to be reinvested. With services, you're looking at 70 to 80% margins that go straight into your pocket. Plus, you can start making money from day one. Look, all of these are fantastic ways to make $10,000, especially for someone starting out. However, if I wanted to start making money as fast as humanly possible, then I'd definitively go with option 4, selling online services. Step 2. Master the skill pyramid. Know that we've narrowed it down. We need to figure out exactly what online service to offer and how to make it lucrative. Start by asking yourself 3 key questions. What are you really good at? What do you enjoy learning about? What problems do businesses consistently struggle with? The sweet spot is where your answers to these 3 questions overlap. Most people get stuck at this stage, spending months or even years trying to perfect their skill before offering it to anyone. That's totally backwards. You need to start getting real-world experience as quickly as possible. So, begin by setting your prices under the normal market rate. Your primary aim here is to earn and learn at the same time. Now, let's take this one step further. This is the skill pyramid, made up of 4 elements that, when mastered together, transform a high-income skill into a $10,000 plus income. Miss just one, and you'll stay stuck at the bottom, working hard but never truly breaking through. Element 1. Positioning. You see, not all online services are equal. The real money is in offering to help businesses make more money. That's because businesses think about money differently than individuals. When a business is making $50,000 a month, spending $2,000 to solve a problem isn't a big deal, as long as it helps them make even more money. And believe me, they have a lot of these problems. They need more customers. They need better systems. They need to stand out from their competition. And they need to convert more leads into sales. These problems never disappear, and businesses are always willing to pay to solve them. On top of this, some industries simply have more money to spend than others. If you think about how you can reposition yourself, you'll start making real money faster. Here are some ideas to get you thinking. Instead of being a video editor for small YouTubers, you could edit videos for an entrepreneur who sells a high-ticket product. If you make random thumbnails for clients, you could instead aim to become the main designer for an established online creator. And if you're a copywriter, don't write cheap articles. Instead, focus on optimizing landing pages that directly drive sales. This isn't about learning more skills. It's about putting yourself where the money is being made. Element 2. Leverage. You'll never make $10. Zero without leveraging value over time. Businesses don't pay for effort, they pay for results. If you stop charging for the hours you work and instead charge for the return on investment you provide, you'll instantly make more money. Let's say you choose to run Facebook ads. If you charge per hour, you're stuck with a fixed rate, and the client will always want to keep your hours low. But if you charge based on the money you bring in for the business, suddenly they're not thinking about cost, they're thinking about profit. And when they see that your work is directly making them money, they'll happily pay you more for it. The same goes if you decide to offer social media management. If you just schedule posts and reply to comments, you're replaceable. But if you can prove that your strategy is bringing in more engagement, more leads, and ultimately more sales, you become a valuable asset, not just an expense. Trust me, the moment you shift your pitch from what you do to what they gain, you'll find a lot of people are suddenly willing to pay a lot more. Element 3. Reach. One of the biggest mistakes people make when starting out is thinking they always have to chase clients. That's not how the game should be played. Right from the start, you need to be thinking about how to make clients come to you. Recently, I was looking for a graphic designer for a specific task, making movie-style posters. The first thing I did was search on TikTok for people who made these kinds of designs. And one person totally dominated the search results, so I reached out to him and asked for his prices. He told me he was just posting some of his designs for fun on TikTok. He wasn't even doing it as a side hustle, so he politely declined. However, his videos kept growing in popularity, and his inbox was flooded with DMs asking to work with him. A few weeks later, he reached back out to me asking how to start getting paid. I helped him set up a proper business, and now he works for me and many other clients. This just goes to show that you should always be putting your work out there, online, even if you're just starting out or just doing something because you enjoy it. You never know what opportunities might come from it. So, if you edit videos, show before and after clips to highlight how much better your edits make the content. If you design thumbnails, explain why your design got more clicks. And if you're learning social media, document how you're growing. An account from scratch. Element 4. Automation. Here's a harsh truth. 95% of people who try to start a side hustle or business fail before they even really get going. Why? After working with countless copywriters, thumbnail designers, web developers, and video editors, I can tell you that 95% of them promise to deliver on time, then completely miss their deadlines. The thing that will make you stand out the most isn't talent or charisma, it's reliability. And overlooking this is the biggest mistake young people make when starting out. The people I've ended up paying thousands to aren't always the absolute best at what they do, but they are consistently the most organized. They never miss deadlines. They always communicate clearly, and they make working with them effortless. So take it from me. Being good at what you do is one thing, but being reliable is what gets you paid again and again. So, how do you achieve this reliability? The most successful people I know don't rely on memory or messy notes. They use automation. And if you're thinking about making money online, you absolutely need something to help you keep track of everything. That's why I recommend using a CRM system. Odoo CRM is fantastic. It helps you remember who you talked to, what they wanted, and what you need to do next. Instead of scrolling through endless emails or DMs trying to find what the client said, everything is in one centralized place. You can visualize all your opportunities with their Kanban board, which helps you see the expected revenue at each stage so you know exactly where to focus your efforts. You can also use it to schedule calls and meetings effortlessly, plus with your emails, notes, and files all in one place. Staying organized becomes incredibly easy. You can use it to easily track your clients and projects so you never miss a deadline. You can set reminders to follow up with people so you always look professional. At the end of the day, clients don't just want someone skilled, they want someone they can count on. Step 3. Turn income into wealthy. Don't care how much money you make. Until you see at least $1 million in your bank account, you shouldn't be wasting it. The supercars, the designer clothes, the nights out. None of it matters unless you can turn your income into long-term wealth. The rich see their income as something to spend, whereas the wealthy use it to make more money. So, how do you do this? You need to start investing. In front of me, I've got a risk scale, and I'm going to walk you through the 4 key areas where I put my money, starting from the safest investments all the way up to the highest risk plays. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just sharing what's worked for me over the years. Let's kick this off with my high-interest savings account. They call it a high-interest savings account, but honestly, at 3%, I have no idea how they get away with that name. Now, sure, you can find better rates if you're willing to lock your money away for a set period, or agree to strict deposit limits each month, but I don't want my savings held hostage. I want access to my money when I need it, not stuck behind some rule that says I can only withdraw on the first Tuesday of every leap year. And I know what some of you are thinking, Mark, this isn't really investing. This is just holding cash. And yeah, you've got a point. But having some cash on the sidelines means you're not forced to sell investments at the wrong time. Imagine the market crashes, and you suddenly need money for an emergency. If you don't have cash saved up, you'll have no choice but to sell stocks at a loss, and that's the fastest way to lock in a bad decision. A high-interest savings account is like your financial safety net. It's not about making big returns. It's about having a buffer so that when life throws unexpected expenses at you, you are covered without wrecking your long-term investments. Investment. 2. Index funds. Have you ever heard the saying, it only takes the price of a coffee a day to become a millionaire? Well, that's thanks to index funds and ETFs. I've made a lot of money from simple, long-term index fund investing, and as an added benefit, it's extremely low maintenance. There are tons of different index funds and ETFs, but the most popular buzzword, of course, is the S&P 500, which bundles 503 of the top publicly traded companies in America into one easy investment. Even though this is the biggest index fund in my portfolio by percentage, I also invest in a total stock market fund. The best I've found for US investors is VTSAX. And for my UK friends, it's the VW or L ETF. Additionally, I think it's important to have some money invested in an emerging market index fund. The best I've found in the USA is the VWO, and in the UK, it's the VFEM ETF. But there are lots of other emerging market funds available, so it's worth having a look around. If all those index fund names made your eyes glaze over, here's an awesome fact to wake you up. The average return of the S&P 500 over the last 10 years has been over 10%. This means if you invest just $5 instead of buying a coffee every single day, from the age of 18 to 67 and achieve the same return, you retire with over $1 million. And if you don't want to wait until you're 67, just invest more money. That's what I've done for many years, and it's worked incredibly well for me. Investment 3. Individual stocks. Now, this is where things get exciting. Individual stocks can be a great way to start investing, especially with smaller amounts of money. They allow you to get hands-on experience with the market in a way that index funds don't. When I first started, I genuinely enjoyed picking stocks and learning how to read a company's financial statements. Honestly, if I hadn't actually invested my own money, I doubt I'd ever have been motivated to understand how it all worked. That's why when you're starting out, individual stocks can feel more engaging. Of course, they also come with higher risk, but if you're only investing a small amount, it can be a useful way to learn how the market moves without putting too much at stake. Another big advantage is that you get direct exposure to specific companies. With index funds, even if a company is performing incredibly well, it may only make up a small part of your portfolio. With individual stocks, you get to experience those gains more directly. But of course, this means more ups and downs, which is something to keep in mind. Investment 4. Cryptocurrency. When Bitcoin first came out in 2009, I, like a lot of people, just assumed it was a scam. I was used to investing in real, tangible assets like property and stocks. things backed by actual companies. The idea of some digital currency with no one in charge seemed way too risky. But as time went on, I started paying more attention. By early 2019, I decided to dip my toes in, and over the last few years, I've been steadily buying more Bitcoin and Ethereum. Looking back, it's been a solid move and has made me a decent amount of money. Now, I won't deny that altcoins and meme coins can make people crazy returns, but they're also way riskier. For every person who makes a fortune, there are plenty who lose it just as fast. These days, I'd say I'm a lot more bullish on crypto, but I'm still playing it smart, building my position slowly, dollar cost averaging, and making sure I'm not just jumping in at bad prices. Of course, crypto is super volatile, and like any investment, it carries risks. That's why it's important to do your own research and only invest what you can afford to lose.